It was Halloween night. The kind of night where the air feels thicker, colder, like it's holding its breath. We'd just left a friend's party on the outskirts of town, still buzzing from cheap beer and bad music. There were 4 of us. Me, my girlfriend Leah, and our friends, Chris and Megan. The plan was simple. Take the highway back home, grab food on the way, call it a night. But somewhere along the drive, Chris's GPS started acting up. Static-filled directions, a frozen map. Then, suddenly a new route popped up. A faster way through the back. Leah joked that it looked like something straight out of a horror movie, but we were tired, and it said it would save us 20 minutes. So, we took the turn. That was mistake number 1. The highway lights faded behind us, replaced by total darkness. The kind of black that swallows the headlights just a few feet ahead. No streetlights, no houses, just trees. They leaned in close on both sides, bending over the road like they were watching us pass. The GPS voice sounded hollow, distorted, like it was being played through water. Continue straight for 10 miles. Then silence. For the first few minutes, it was fine. We cracked jokes, played music, tried to ignore how creepy it felt. But the radio kept cutting out. First, a little static, then nothing. Every station was dead. No voices, no songs. Just the low hum of the engine and the sound of gravel crunching under the tires. That's when Megan said something that made us all look up. Didn't we just pass that gas station? I looked out the window. Sure enough, on the right side of the road stood a rundown gas station. The kind that looked like it hadn't been open in decades. One flickering light above the awning, a couple of rusted pumps, and a payphone half hanging off the wall. We all swore we hadn't seen another road, another turn. But 10 minutes later, there it was again. Same gas station, same tilted sign reading Hollow Creek Fuel. Primera. I slowed down. Maybe there's another one just like it, I said. Though Primera didn't believe my own words. The road was straight. No turns, no intersections. There shouldn't be another gas station out here. Leia reached over and touched my arm. Don't stop, she whispered. Just keep driving. So I did. Minutes stretched. The world outside the car felt unreal. The trees, the fog, even the moon seemed to shift places every few seconds. Megan said her phone clock had frozen. Chris checked the dashboard. The digital clock there was blinking 0 o'clock. Then Leah asked quietly, "What's our odometer say?" I glanced down. It read the same number it had when we'd turned off the highway. 78,421. We had been driving for nearly an hour, but it hadn't moved. Not a single mile. That was mistake number 2. We didn't turn around right then. We just kept going, because none of us wanted to admit how wrong everything felt. Eventually, the gas station appeared again. Only this time, the light wasn't flickering anymore. It was on, bright, steady, like it had been waiting for us. The others started arguing. Chris said we needed to stop. Maybe get our bearings. Find someone. Leia begged me not to. She said the place didn't feel right. That something was off. I wish I'd listened to her. I pulled into the lot. The gravel crunched under the tires, but it didn't sound normal. It sounded muted, like driving on sand. When I turned off the engine, the silence hit so hard it rang in my ears. There was no wind, no insects, not even the hum of the car cooling down. Just nothing. The gas station looked worse up close. The windows were covered in grime, the door half hanging off its hinges. But when I looked at the glass, I swear I saw someone a shape, just standing inside, perfectly still. Chris grabbed a flashlight from the glove box and got out. "Hello," he called. "Hey, our GPS." The light flickered as he stepped forward. The beam caught on the payphone, the same one we'd shone before. But now the receiver was off the hook, swinging gently. That's when Leia screamed. We all turned toward the car, but she wasn't looking at us. She was staring out the windshield toward the road. There, about 20 feet ahead, was another car. Same make, same color, same license plate. Ours. We watched in silence as its headlights turned on, even though my keys were still in my hand. I don't remember getting back in the car. I don't remember starting it or turning around, but I do remember looking in the rearview mirror as we sped off. The gas station was gone. The trees were gone. The road behind us was just black. Black. When we finally saw the lights of town again, the odometer suddenly clicked. 78,422. 1 mile. That's all we'd driven. We tried to laugh it off later, blame it on bad directions or a glitch in the GPS. But a week later, Megan sent a photo she found online. It was an old newspaper clipping from 1986 about a group of 4 teens who vanished after taking a shortcut through the Hollow Creek back. Their car was found a month later, parked in front of a gas station that had been closed since 1979. And the mileage on the odometer, 78,421. I sold my car the next day. But sometimes, late at night, I swear I can hear the hum of its engine outside my window, idling, waiting for me to take that detour again. I should have turned around the moment I saw the first sign, but something about that night, that stretch of black asphalt cutting through the countryside, made me feel like I had no choice. Maybe it was curiosity. Maybe it was just fatigue and the reckless confidence that comes from driving alone with nowhere urgent to be. It started after I left my friend's Halloween gathering. The roads were mostly empty, the occasional streetlight flickering overhead, casting long, half-broken shadows. I had my playlist on low, just enough to keep me company. That's when I noticed the GPS had taken me off the main highway and onto a 2-lane country road. At first I thought it was a shortcut. It wasn't. The darkness on that road was immediate, absolute. No houses, no trucks passing by, no glow of distant towns. The trees leaned in like they were watching me, branches scraping the sides of the car as if warning me not to continue. My headlights cut through the fog in front of me, illuminating only a few feet of asphalt at a time. Everything else disappeared into blackness. After a few miles, I thought I saw a faint glow in the distance. I assumed it was another car, but as I got closer, it resolved into the shape of a gas station. Hollow, abandoned, its single flickering light barely visible through the mist. Rusted pumps leaned at odd angles, and the sign above the building swung in the wind without a sound. I passed it, thinking nothing of it, and the road stretched ahead endlessly. Minutes later, I swear I saw it again. That same gas station, the same broken sign, the same dim light. My stomach sank. I checked my GPS. No turns, no intersections, just the endless ribbon of road, cutting through the darkness. I blinked, thinking maybe I was hallucinating, and the light disappeared again. I tried to keep my focus on the road, telling myself I was being paranoid. But the more I drove, the more the scenery refused to change. The same twisted trees, the same thick fog clinging to the asphalt. And then, like a heartbeat, it appeared again, the gas station. This time, closer, more detailed. I could see the cracked windows, the chipped paint, the payphone dangling off its hook. I could even swear I saw a shadow moving inside. Primera, slow it down. My hands were trembling, gripping the wheel tighter than I realized. I wanted to stop, turn around, anything to escape the feeling that I had fallen into someone else's design. But every time I thought about stopping, I looked ahead, and there it was again. The gas station, unchanged, staring at me like a predator waiting. Hours could have passed, though I doubted it had even been 20 minutes. Time felt irrelevant on that road. I tried to turn my radio on to break the silence, but every station was dead, only static, a hiss that climbed into my ears and made me flinch. Eventually, I reached the gas station one more time. Something about it felt different. I parked on the gravel and sat there, the fog curling around my tires. The air was unnaturally still. I could hear my own breathing, the faint drip of water from a broken gutter, and then I saw it reflected in the cracked window. In the dim light, a figure standing in the shadows inside the building, not moving, just watching. I don't know how long I sat there before I realized I could feel the road behind me. When I glanced back through my rearview mirror, the road stretched endlessly, unbroken, like it had never moved beneath me. And I understood, in that good deep way that leaves you frozen, that no matter how far I drove, I had not left. When I finally forced myself to leave, driving as fast as I dared. The road continued the same. The gas station faded into the fog, but I knew it wasn't gone. It would be waiting. The endless repetition, the unnerving stillness of that place, it would always be there. Watching, waiting. Even now, when I drive late at night, I find myself imagining that road stretching ahead, mist curling along the asphalt, and I can't shake the memory of the light flickering inside that abandoned gas station. Like it's calling me back, and I know, deep down, I'll recognize it instantly if I ever take that road again. Some roads don't lead anywhere, and some, I've learned, don't let you leave. I still remember the night clearly. Halloween, cold enough that the wind cut through your jacket, but not so cold that you regretted being outside. My friend Jason and I were driving back from a party on the outskirts of town. The streets quiet, except for the occasional rustle of leaves and the hum of our tires on the asphalt. The full moon hung low, partially hidden behind clouds, casting pale streaks across the road. That's when we saw him. It was a boy, maybe 16, walking barefoot on the side of the road. His costume was torn, hanging in strips, like it had been through years of Halloween nights. His face was pale, smeared with dirt or makeup. I couldn't tell, and he just stood there, looking at us as we slowed. "Need a ride?" I called out instinctively. Jason didn't even ask. We both felt it. Something about him demanded our attention, and maybe our sympathy. He didn't answer right away, just got in the car quietly, clutching his bag to his chest. I noticed he didn't put on a seatbelt. Didn't say a word. The only sound was the muffled thump of the tires on the road and the occasional crackle of static from the old car radio. "Where to?" I asked after a long silence. "Near the cemetery. Small town," he said finally, voice soft, almost too calm for the way he looked. Jason and I exchanged a glance. I mean, who walks barefoot in November, dressed like that, just to go to a cemetery? But we didn't question it. We just drove. The road leading to the cemetery was narrow, flanked by thick trees that scratched at the windshield in the wind. Fog had begun to creep along the asphalt, curling around the tires like it wanted to follow us. Every time I glanced at him, he seemed smaller than before, slumping in his seat, silent, watching the road with hollow eyes. We finally arrived at the cemetery gate. The fog was thick enough that the tombstones barely showed themselves through the gray haze. I stopped the car and turned to him. "Here you go," I said. He looked at us for the first time and smiled faintly. It wasn't happy or sad, just peaceful. "Thank you," he whispered. Then he opened the door and stepped out. The fog seemed to swallow him instantly, his bare feet disappearing into the mist. We watched, frozen, as he walked between the tombstones until he vanished completely. Jason and I sat there for a while, unsure what to do. I wanted to call out to check if he was okay, but the cemetery was too quiet. Too empty. The only sound was the wind rattling the iron gate. Finally, we shook ourselves, got back in the car, and drove off. Uneasy, but trying to shrug it off is just weird luck. We were halfway back to town when something caught my eye on the side of the road. A weathered poster nailed to a telephone pole, edges curled and fading premiere. Slowed down. My stomach dropped. The poster read, "Missing since 1995. There, staring out at me from the yellowed paper, was his face. Some pale skin, same hollow eyes, same faint smile. My hands tightened around the steering wheel. "No way," Jason muttered. I checked the date at the bottom, -1995, 27 years ago. He had been walking the road, barefoot, in a tattered costume, for all these years? How? Why? I don't know if it was a ghost or some memory trapped between worlds. I just know that since that night, I've avoided that road entirely. But sometimes, when I drive late at night, I think I see him walking along the side, costume tattered, feet bare, eyes empty, looking at the headlights like he's waiting for someone to stop. And I always slow down, because I know I could end up like Jason and me that night, witnesses to something that shouldn't exist, but does. The scariest part isn't that he disappeared, or that he's been missing for decades. The scariest part is that he'll never stop walking, and if you're kind enough to give him a ride, you might just drive him straight back to the place where he's been waiting all along.